The system we live in and that we've known all our lives is far more fragile than we think. And we saw a fair bit of that during the COVID period. And there's a lot of people that want to take advantage of strife and difficult times and press fear into our lives. But when you have some level of control over your food supply and you're doing it as a family, it gives you a level of comfort that the government can never give you, a level of security that they can't offer. And it's rewarding. It's not just because you're producing beautiful food that tastes better, but it's been great for our marriage, it's been great for our kids. They are talented, they've got skills, and all they're learning are skills and knowledge that humans have had for thousands of years that we've forgotten in our modern society. So it's good for your body, it's good for your mind, it's good for your soul, and it tastes great.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with Brendan and Caitlin from the Big Little Farm here in Victoria, and we're going to talk about their amazing homestead. First things first, Brendan, Caitlin, please could you tell us, how did you get into this homesteading self-sufficiency life? How did this all begin?
About 2008 really, in March. I was in international business, did a lot of data analysis and was thinking there's going to be a big event happening this year, likely late in the year. That turned out to be the global financial crisis. We were telling people about it, they didn't want to listen, and then it all happened and it was a bit of a disaster. And following that, we realised the fundamentals weren't being fixed. And I said to Caitlin, we've got to start growing our own food because this whole Western system is going to go belly up at some point. And so we started learning to grow our own food in a 250 square metre unit.
Wow.
And then 3 years later, we bought a 1/4 acre block next door. So we cut a hole in the fence and just moved through. And that had a small house on it, and we really got cranking there. And after about 6 months, I knew we got to get onto land. And 3 years later, we moved here onto this acreage.
What do you do here on your 10 acres?
You want to answer that one?
Yeah, so we grow as much food as we possibly can. We were fortunate that there was already a well-established orchard here. So when we first moved here, there were fruit galore, like it was coming out our ears. We didn't know what to do with it all. And we had to set up all our own veggie gardens. We were able to get sheep and cows, so we are able to eat our own meat, which is amazing, and chooks. We can eat chickens too if we want to. But we grow, heaps of veg. We buy very little, and we also had to quickly learn how to preserve the food because we were growing so much and we really didn't want to be buying much. So I had to learn really fast how to preserve the excess that we were growing. So at the moment, we don't buy much in the way of fruit and veggies. We are able to support ourselves.
Or meat.
Yeah, no meat. And we're able to support ourselves really well from what we're able to do here.
Wow,
all our own honey as well.
Yes, honey too. I forgot about bees.
That's really good because you're a family of 7, right?
Yeah.
That's impressive. I saw on Instagram that you said you were made to leave your firefighting job because of the COVID vaccine mandate. Did that just fuel your passion for homesteading and self-sufficiency?
I think the knowledge of what was coming fueled our passion for it.
I was going to say, I think it fueled more our passion for educating others,
right,
and wanting to teach people how to homestead. So the passion was already there and we were already doing lots, but I think the COVID thing really made us go, we've got this knowledge and these skills, we need to pass this on to others. And that's when we really kind of started our social media accounts and started the education side of things.
And so is that your homestead hive? What is that?
The Homestead Hive, yeah.
So, we've got our own Instagram, Facebook and TikTok accounts, which is really what we just use to get the message out there. But we've joined with a group of Americans and the Americans are ace homesteaders, like they are primo. Australians are really just starting to catch on. They've got a large portion of their population, as far as percent, compared to Australia goes, that are taking care of themselves off their own land. So we wanted to bring that into Australia, and we were asked to be a part of this group. and it's basically a monthly subscription, and you get access not just to everything we're putting up, all of our ebooks and live events, but to 20 other homesteaders as well. So there's a wealth of knowledge in there, and if there's a topic that you need some information on, you just pop an email in or you contact someone directly. It works really well without having to be lost in all the comments of a social media account.
So it's basically a private community, and in that there are classes that people have access to, ebooks, all these resources, as well as just being able to ask Q&A of all the homesteaders. And there's no trolls. There's nothing's off limits. Like we've been banned from a number of things that we've put on our social media because we go against mainstream. But in the hive, there's nothing's off limits. We can talk about anything.
It's controlled by the group, and so it's all, you got to be kind, but you can talk about any issue, any topic that you wish, and get advice. So there's no shadow banning.
That's great. We need that.
Yeah.
Question about your animals. Do you actually butcher them yourselves?
Yes.
Brendan does.
And the kids. So our 10-year-old, she's quite an avid assistant when it comes to butchering the animals, or slaughtering and butchering. I even came up one day, I caught it, there's a little Instagram post where she's plucking out the kidneys, and I said, "What are you doing there?" She goes, "Kidneys for lunch." And she's taking them out, and then she takes the heart out as well, which she has for lunch.
What do you do with all the offal and things like not the kidneys and the heart and the liver? What do you do with that?
I dig a hole in the compost that we've got active. I put the guts all in there along with the head, cover it back over, and that just becomes incredible compost. In fact, we had a reel, this is one that got us really going with Instagram, where I said, this compost is going great, but now we're going to supercharge it. And then I tipped the guts in, and it went viral, and we had over 2.2 million views on that one reel. So that really helped us come along. And there's a little bit of humour in there, a little bit of a dig at the politicians and stuff about being composting vermin. So that didn't hurt either.
Can you show us a bit around your garden?
Yeah, sure. So this is our main market garden. This is our glorious pin oak tree, which is dormant at the moment, so it'll start budding really soon. This deck was Caitlin's Christmas present about 7 or 8 years ago. The tree was a lot smaller then, but this is the hub of our garden. We spend a lot of time on this deck. So over here we have our kitchen garden. So pretty much we try to keep things in there that we're using each morning for breakfast.
Yeah,
and then in here we've got our main crops. So, it's a full irrigation system around here. I've run a ring main around it.
Okay.
So I've got a single valve that waters the entire garden, but each line that comes off that ring main can be shut off individually. So I've built it for convenience sake, so that we're not hand watering and running around, wasting time trying to get water to specific plants. So we're using in this garden, we've got raised beds from manufactured timber. I've got raised beds from milled timber. We've got beds using old logs. So as the logs rot down, they feed the soil, they create habitat for the microorganisms, the insects, which are great for the garden. And then we also use the rocks because that encourages a skink population, the little lizards, and one of their food sources is slug and snail eggs. So we have dramatically reduced our slug and snail population by having a rockery out the front of the garden here and having rock garden bed edges in here. And the entire garden, in fact, this whole garden here, as you can see the post and rail fence, it was originally part of this paddock. It was just pasture. So I put the fence in, I put in the netted area for the berries, and then we sheet mulched the entire garden. So we laid cardboard down and then put about half a foot of mulch, maybe a foot of mulch right across the garden. So there's a lot of wheelbarrow work, a lot of collecting cardboard, but it fed the soil, and if we chip away at it at any point, it's chocolatey brown underneath.
And there's mycelium in there
too. And there's mycelium and there's moisture in here as well. So you can see the plants after a couple of hot days and this wind, they're wilting, they'll come back tonight. but the moisture's always in here. In fact, 2 summers ago, I only watered this garden a total of 7 times.
Wow, that's really great.
And what we do each season is we'll scrape back the top layer of mulch, then the lower layer, which is broken down into really good soil, we flip that into the garden to feed it. So then we're not having to bring anything in, and we're creating a bit of a closed loop.
You have the rocks for the skinks, but are there any other ways that you manage pests?
Yes, so slugs and snails for that garden over there will come out at the start of each new season in spring at a nighttime rain, and we'll pluck all the slugs and snails off, feed them to the chooks. That slows down their breeding cycle. But the key is 2 things: healthy soil and biodiversity. You've got to get your soil healthy, keep the chemicals out of it, and you've got to get biodiversity in. You can see all the nasturtiums here, you can see the lavender. This is all stuff we've sown ourselves, planted ourselves. It's all very hardy, a lot of heirloom stuff, but it's the diversity. We've got to pay attention to our garden because we don't have all the asparagus in one spot and all the tomatoes in another. We do spread them out so we don't get soil-borne diseases, keeps the soil healthier. And we're also using heirloom plants, which are a lot hardier. They're not as susceptible to insect damage. So we're in the hunger gap at the moment, that part between when all the previous crops are done, we've got a bit of winter stuff, and we're going into spring when we're planting seedlings. So we've got our garlic crop in here. These are all new beds I built just last season, and they've been churning out the food. We've got our first carrots in. So what we do with carrots is we sow them and then we cover them over with cardboard for the first probably 3 weeks, because you can see here's the young carrot seedlings coming up. So they're super sensitive to moisture, and you can see that it's trapped the moisture in here. There's a couple of spuds coming up too. But if you don't cover the young seedlings, we've found they just dry off on the first warm day. So this cover will come off later this week, and we'll plant a whole new crop of them. So yeah, we're really just getting ramped up. But this, in about probably 3 months' time, we'll have a food plant in every corner of this garden. We put in these posts, so we've got our own timber mill out in the paddock. So we mill up all our own timbers. These are just standard sleepers, but this stuff here, we've milled up so we can get more vertical growing. We use all the recycled materials. I love the building and the art element of gardening.
Yeah.
I like to make it beautiful. These are my favourite beds because I started at ground level.
And then it goes high.
And they run with the ground and just stay level. So in the deeper sections I can have carrots, because carrots want nice loose soil, or potatoes, and I can harvest them at waist level. And then up here in the summer I can have tomatoes, which then I can pick. They can go nice and high and I can pick them easily too. Yeah, basically this will be chock full of food in about 3 months' time. So these are red clinker garden beds, which I quite enjoyed building. I hadn't done any bricklaying before, so I did an online course and I worked with a mate for a day. And the best thing about these beds is you've got the thermal mass in this brickwork and in this brickwork. So right through winter, we're getting chilies and capsicums from this garden. So we've still got a few chilies here that are starting to die off, but there's actually capsicums still on the go from previous season. They have survived a winter because of this radiant heat. So when you're planting your garden, you want to be strategic on all of your aspects of your land and your house. Use everything to your advantage. So these were our very first garden beds. When we moved here, I found an old water tank that had holes all through it down in the gully. So I took an angle grinder, and we're talking 2014, and a generator down. This is before the really good battery powered angle grinders. And I cut it in half and I rolled them all the way up here and filled them up with soil, and they've been going pretty well ever since. Free garden beds. You can use whatever you want for a garden bed. You don't have to be purchasing fabricated stuff or expensive timbers to make them. Use whatever you can find wherever you're at. And this greenhouse is another good example. This greenhouse is just old windows and doors off a building site of a house that was being demolished. I had to purchase the posts at the time because I didn't have the timber mill, but the whole greenhouse cost us $259.
That's great.
So, and it works a treat. And we've got our first crop for spring in here now. So there's all the young asparagus there from last season, so that'll be ready to go out. And then, yeah, we've got a tray of brassicas and some beetroot ready to go out there. And then all of this stuff's just starting to come up now. And tomorrow we're running a consult where we'll be planting a whole bunch of other seeds for the new season. And these are our main compost bays.
Is this the one that you added the...
Yeah, this is the one where we add the sheep guts in.
offal?
So if you have a look here, Chili, this was one of the ones we put the guts into, which I just took out soil yesterday, and you can, if you get a look at that, you can see how moist and chocolatey that is. That's so full of microorganisms and nutrients that you just need to be getting that into your garden each season. So there's not a lot of worms left in it because it's so shallow, they've gone as far down as they can.
Yeah.
But this is what you're aiming for in your garden compost. If you can keep the organic matter rolling into your garden, and this is just garden waste, the guts from the sheep, some of our kitchen scraps, because we don't throw the kitchen scraps in whole. I tend to collect them in the bins and so forth that are sealed, because when you're putting kitchen scraps into your compost, you're attracting rodents. And you want to keep rats and mice out of your garden because they can decimate plants. We've always had a pretty good balanced compost, so I can add the guts at any time. And within 2 weeks, it is so full of worms. And the skulls, I put the head in, and the skulls end up like a worm farm. They are amazing. In fact, we used to have a worm farm, and I dismantled it because I can just stick a sheep's head in here, take it out of the garden full of worms, dig a hole, put it over there, and it just becomes like a worm harvesting,
Like a hotel thing.
like a hospital, I don't know, like a breeding ground. Like, it's just this, they're just pumping them out.
That's cool.
We don't do cold composting where it's going in all the time. We just cold compost at the end there, and then when we've got enough manures and other waste and kitchen scraps to put it all through, we will in one day make a whole load of this, and within sort of 30 to 60 days, then we've got enough to put in the garden. So we've got these 4 beds for that garden, and then we've got a series of other beds around the property for fruit trees and other market gardens that we've got as well. So Chili, do you know what this stuff here is?
No.
So this is called 3-cornered leek because it's kind of got 3 corners. Have a smell of that.
Definitely an allium kind of.
Yeah, so beautiful allium, wild plant, full of nutrition, and our kids eat this with their breakfast, with their fried eggs and so forth most mornings. So bringing your kids up on the land helps to teach them what wild foods are available. So if everything shuts down for some reason, which God forbid it, let's hope that doesn't happen, we can still get a feed off the land. So this is our original chicken run. So this is massive, this is a huge run. Right now there's only 3 birds in there, but there's never any grass. Chickens just decimate grass. And we wanted to find a solution to this. And so we actually started a business doing chicken tractors. And we've been working with the Amish out of the US to bring them to the Illumi coop to Australia. And we've found it to be the #1 solution for chickens because you're essentially putting a conveyor belt of green grass under their feet. So you conveyor the poo out and the green grass comes in just by moving the coop forward each day. Come and have a look. So this is the Illumi coop, and it's basically a mobile chicken coop, and all the water and the feed goes in on the outside. You collect the eggs from the outside, so the nesting box is on the inside, and whenever we want to move it, we've got a hot wire system around the outside. We just take that off. You can see how the chooks are immediately scratching and getting into the grass, which gives them access to fresh pasture and gives them access to all the insects that are in there. And the girls, a 12-year-old, she can move this, no worries. So we've found this to be the very best solution to keeping chickens. They're healthy, they're not in their own manure, and the eggs are superb. We absolutely love this thing. It's amazing.
That's great. Why the electric fence on the outside? Is it just for foxes or?
Yeah, that's just for foxes. So we didn't think we needed it because the movement of the coop keeps the foxes very suspicious. But Australia does have a high fox population. So with the Americans, this has been developed just as a I guess, safeguard against it. And we use it as a demonstrative unit, and we've kept it on, and we've had no issues with or without it. So, you know, some people need that peace of mind, and some people are buying these that are hobby farmers, so they're not there during the week. And if you want to keep them safe, you've got to keep it moving daily. Mm-hmm. And so having the Predex unit, the hot wire, means that you can leave it for a number of days and they're safe.
Where does the electricity come from?
It comes from this little solar unit. So we just hook this up to the line. And that's electrified now. And then we just get our eggs from back here. So the girls keep a rag in there so they don't roll back and bang it, but they need to come out and collect the eggs. So yeah, this is my favourite thing on the farm, even over the timber mill. So this polytunnel is 100% reclaimed. So a local flower farmer went to another farm and it had been sold, the new owner didn't want them. So our friend kindly dismantled it all and offered us one. So we just picked all the parts up in a trailer and reconstructed it here. And it served us really well because we can get right in the heart of winter, any of the potatoes that are sprouting that are going to have to be thrown out, we can stick into this polytunnel and away we go. They survive, no worries. And the capsicums, they look a bit lame at the moment, but they will spring back, absolutely no worries, in about a month's time. And they're about a 5-year-old plant now. So we're getting years out of them.
You don't even get to see it in all its glory. So yeah, after the end of autumn, when all the preserving's done, it's just full. It is just full of food.
Right now, this is inspirational. This is just like aspirational too.
It is pretty cool. I must say, I do love this room. This used to be a bathroom, so it's a much better use of the space.
Definitely.
It used to just be this big bathroom that was kind of like our storage room. We just would dump things in here, and then Brendan said one day this would make a great food storage space. So he built all these shelves, and yeah, all these big white tubs down the bottom we buy. I run an organic co-op, so we're able to buy a lot of things in bulk, and then we store them in the white tubs. So it means I can get like 25 kilo bags of oats, and it's far cheaper. Plus you're not having to buy a little packet of something each time, which creates more rubbish and saves us money as a family of 7.
Your bone broth stash, that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, with food preserving, you've kind of got, the easiest things to start with are things like freezing and dehydrating.
Yeah.
So for people who are wanting to start, they're sort of good places to start. And then you can get into water bathing and pressure canning. So I think most people then sort of work their way up to water bathing, and you can do all your high acid foods. So all these fruits, your tomato products, jams down here, chutneys and relishes, they can all be water bathed because they're high acid foods. And water bathing, you can only get to boiling temp, 100 degrees. And so anything high acid, botulism, that's the thing people are scared of when it comes to food preserving. It can't survive in high acid foods. Yeah. So water bathing's safe. But then if you want to do things like potatoes and your legumes and your carrots and your bone broth, and look, I've even got meat up here. That's just plain meat. Chili con carne. If you want to do those low acid food items, that's where pressure canning is a great way to preserve, because the pressure canning, the temp can go higher than in water bathing. And so it then can kill off anything nasty, and it can prevent the botulism then growing in that environment because it's raised it to a much higher temperature. But yeah, I think the bone broth is my favourite thing to pressure can. I like just to be able to have it shelf stable rather than take up all your freezer space with bone broth. Or to be able to do meats, for example. So if your power goes out, you don't have to rely fully on the freezer to have all your meats.
Yes.
And then the one thing I haven't got yet, maybe one day I'll get, a freeze dryer. Have you looked into those at all?
Yeah, we don't have one, but
Yeah, it's so maybe one day I'll go to that, because that opens up, a whole lot of other things you can do. Oh, eggs. The other thing I love preserving is, this is water glassing eggs. So these eggs are just fresh, and you can keep them fresh for about 2 years. And that's just in water and a lime mixture, and it's dead easy to do. So anyone growing chooks, if you've got excess of eggs, this is a great way to preserve eggs, and is cheap. And then again, shelf-stable eggs for a couple of years.
and then how do you use them afterwards? You just rinse off the egg and
Yeah, you just take it out, give it a wash under water, and use it as you would any fresh egg.
Fantastic.
So we just fry them up or use it in baking, and it just means, when your chooks are off the lay, you've always got eggs and you don't have to go to the shops and buy them. What else do we have in here? I like to make my own body products too. So these soaps, this is tallow soap, because we have our own sheep and cows. With the fat from those animals, I render it down and make tallow, and then I can use the tallow in soap. Here's some tallow here, just in jars, and we use that to cook with. Makes the best roast potatoes. Yes. And then, I use it in soap. I make my own face cream. Tallow is just amazing for our skin. So, I love experimenting with different things to make body products.
And then you also have essential oils.
Yes, we have our own essential oil range. We don't make them ourselves, but we work with a father and son up north who have been doing it for 30 years. So we work with them, and we're able to, have our own essential oils, because, again, I'm into natural everything. So natural food, but also natural health. So I'm into alternative ways to look after our bodies and our family's health.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, so essential oil is definitely one of my go-tos for health products. And I should show you Brendan's seed rack. Anytime this is on any of our socials, people comment. So he built this himself, because where's our old seed containers?
Yeah.
You've got all your seed containers in who knows how. It's so hard to find the seeds. It's such a mess. And he's just like, there's got to be a better way to do this. Mm-hmm. And so he built these seed shelves, bought the little amber bottles, did his own labels, and it's all in alphabetical order. And so now, because we save our own seed and try and grow as much as we can from our own seed, and how much better is this than in the containers?
This is amazing.
So, people do love seeing this.
People in apartments and balconies, what's something they can do that they can become a bit more self-sufficient? Is there a super easy vegetable that they should be growing?
Yeah, so we started our food growing journey on a deck in Blackburn, and all we grew was lettuce, tomato and coriander.
Yep.
And they went okay, they went fairly well, but the tomatoes, they're at the top of the food chain as far as taste compared to supermarket products. So I would always recommend people, if you like tomatoes, grow them at home. But if you're in an apartment, at the very least, grow your herbs, because the ones you're getting from the shops are covered in chemicals. They're coming in a little plastic bag. They cost $5 or $6. And herbs are hardy. Even the most experienced garden killer can get a herb to survive. So start with herbs, and they'll grow in poor light as well.
Are there any golden gems of advice that you could share with our audience on self-sufficiency and homesteading?
I'm sure you've got something, but what I would say is self-sufficiency is a myth. You can get about 60 to 70% of the way, but that last 30 to 40% is going to make you miserable. So you've got to do it as a family, and B, a community. You can't be good at everything.
I look at where we are now and what we're doing, and we didn't start with this. So I think it's important for people to remember when you set out on this journey, just start with one thing and kind of master that, and then go, okay, what am I going to add next? And whatever really piques your interest. So for me, when we started, for him it was growing food. That's what he really wanted to do. Whereas for me, it was starting to change how my family was eating. So I was really a bit more interested in recipes and how I was going to make more wholesome food using these and preserving. That interested me too. But don't feel like you've got to do it all just yet, because you'll get burned out and you'll give up. So just one thing at a time, and when you feel like you've got the mental capacity and space to try a new thing, add that to your repertoire, and just you'll slowly keep learning and growing, and your skills and your repertoire of what you're doing will just naturally grow. So don't look at people like us and go, right, I'm going to do that, because this has taken us like 15 years to kind of get to this point from
17.
when we started. Yeah, it's not an overnight thing. So look at it as a long, slow, but manageable approach.
And the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is today.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add and say to our audience on YouTube and Rumble?
Yeah. The system we live in and that we've known all our lives is far more fragile than we think. And we saw a fair bit of that during the COVID period. And there's a lot of people that want to take advantage of strife and difficult times and press fear into our lives. But when you have some level of control over your food supply and you're doing it as a family, it gives you a level of comfort that the government can never give you, a level of security that they can't offer. And it's rewarding. It's not just because you're producing beautiful food that tastes better, but it's been great for our marriage. It's been great for our kids. They are talented, they've got skills, and all they're learning are skills and knowledge that humans have had for thousands of years that we've forgotten in our modern society. So it's good for your body, it's good for your mind, it's good for your soul, and it tastes great.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well said. Thank you so much, Brendan and Caitlin, for this interview. This is wildly windy. Thank you everyone for watching on YouTube and Rumble. I'll put all the links for their Instagram account in the description and you can check it out. And don't forget to do all the like, subscribing and sharing and commenting, and I'll see you next time on Chili's Farm. Bye.